ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Xbox the Box, an Xbox podcast. My name is Potato, and with my good friend, Alice. Hi, Alice. How you
Hi.
doing? That way. That way.
Yeah, they try to confuse the camera because it's just blurred.
I know, I went blurry.
Anyway,
Lost the focus.
in case you didn't figure out, my pronouns are she, they, but I don't know up to you, so I don't mind. But anyway, I think it's important to know that this week we could be celebrating our 2-year anniversary of this podcast.
Yeah. So
wonder what's happening?
2 years we've been doing this, so it's kind of mad. So is this a 2-year anniversary of when we came back? Because we had like a 6-month hiatus in the middle.
Yeah. Well, there's a 6-month hiatus. We officially started like about 2 years ago, where we started with the pilot episode. Then we just went on and discussed about. I think we just went through a bunch of things like, is it a Call of Duty of some sort? Because I remember the third episode is like the cluster topics of like, oh, is it the Minecraft or the Axel, the Halo bits in it?
Yeah, I mean, we did a lot of talking about E3 predictions from like 2 years ago, and then this year's E3. That's like, you know, the E3 is the big thing, isn't it? So, and then we kind of fell off a little bit, and then we came back, and we're still here,
and we're still on like full throttle and doing it every week. Like, it's a lot more than compared to the PS We Trust, our competitor, which happens to do this every 2 weeks. So now it's just like, we're pretty much like doing a lot more episodes and things.
There's a longer though, to be fair. In their defense, they do 4-hour episodes, whereas we do like 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So it works out about the same amount of content, really. So
what's our favorite moments of the podcast so far? Now we're just doing it for 2 years, or you could say like 18 months.
18. I mean, most of our highlights are on the shorts. If you check out our YouTube shorts, we had there's like lots of short clips from the podcast. I like when we rewrit Halo, and my version of Halo was the Doomslayer coming up and just killing everything on the Covenant. Oh, that was quite funny.
I remember that one. I also followed up with a very, very interesting rewrite, which is like, wow, it's awesome.
Also, me showing off my Xbox underwear. That was quite funny.
That was recent and still golden.
Me talking about how I am going to suck
your blood.
Your blood. I am going to suck your blood. That's like a Simpsons reference, but it's still funny. I think we've enjoyed doing this podcast. It's been a lot of fun. It's just us two hanging out, really. We don't talk all week, and then we just end up talking for like 2 hours on here. And just Xbox just happens to be involved in our conversation. It is just us two chatting for like 2 hours, really. Because I thought I would like mention what I've been watching on the TV as well in a minute, because that's but we'll talk about more the anniversary first before we get into that. Have you got any favorite moments?
For me, my favorite moments is that I think the first thing is
you like the fur? That's like a running gag that you love, is the fur. All right, okay.
We were talking about the podcast.
Every episode.
Yeah, we were talking about the podcast about, I think it was title names and stuff like that. And apparently you get games like Call of Duty, like having to rehash the games of Gamester. And that was joked about having in a title just to like differentiate between two different versions.
Speaking of titles, we've mentioned Crying Jim Ryan multiple times. We were going to have name the last week's episode Crying Jim Ryan, and realised we already named an episode Crying Jim Ryan a couple of months ago. Jim Ryan has been a highlight with his really crazy tweets and really crazy stuff he's coming out. He's very Trump-esque when it comes to his wacky, ridiculous comments. To be honest. It's been entertaining. I mean, I don't like the guy, but he is entertaining to listen to all his whining about Call of Duty and stuff. It's hilarious.
I also like to mention that one of my other favourite moments is I don't remember so much about the previous episodes. Hate to say this, But one of the good moments is to do the Pride episode like last year, and how you talked about me and all this stuff. That is really nice, and I really do appreciate it.
Yes.
It's not on this channel though, because otherwise it could have been audio only, which you can watch it on the Potato Pro Wrestling channel. So
yeah. So yeah, that is a thing about this podcast. We are very pro LGBTQ, hence the pronouns and stuff. I'm not really super. I don't know. Let us know what you think about the pronouns at the bottom. I would love to hear your feedback because I'm a bit mixed on it. I think it is a good idea, but I also feel like it also brings that you get a lot of negativity as well.
Well,
which is not very nice.
Well, I think it's important that we shouldn't really be stifling our speech or how we appear, just to please as much as the viewers as possible. So I don't think we should be allowing them to like stifle what we can present ourselves. So
yeah, we are very LGBTQ positive here. So if you feel welcome, I'm hoping that everyone feels welcome in this community. That is is a big part of this. Is that we like to make everyone feel welcome.
We're also kind of a bit sensitive too. So if there's anything bad, we kind of like take it seriously and like try to improve it for everyone. But we don't really have to please everyone because, according to the entrepreneurship degree, if you try to please as much people as you can and going for the wider audience, you're just going to end up diluting what we can do. Which is why if we deliver the podcast that is pro LGBT, have me in, and also like discuss a lot of like sensitive topics that we just taking our views across, then that way it just kind of like appeals to more people.
Yeah, I mean, if you're transphobic or homophobic, I don't particularly want you in our community, to be honest. So, bye. I'm sorry, that's how I feel. I mean, so yeah, I agree. We try to be as inclusive as we can be. So that is something, and then hopefully we'll probably do another Pride episode next in it's June, right? Pride in there. So
yeah, I think that's about 3 months away. But
so probably do another one then.
But yeah, it's a lot to prepare for. So, but we already got a bunch of episodes lined up. So I think
we've got a very packed schedule. It's great. I mean, we want to keep this channel going indefinitely if we can. Just keep going for as long as we can. It's going to be hard to not get burnt out, but we're going to try our best. So,
well, that leads me to another thing, and I'm going to have a confession to make.
Okay.
I am afraid to say that I'm getting a little bit burnt out, and I've been having mental health problems, routine problems, and I'm just not really getting around to doing those things. So I am still doing the podcast every week. It's possible I may take a break and be given the substitute of someone else. But right now, it's just like I've been daydreaming a lot. I've been daydreaming for hours, and I've been delaying a lot of tasks, and it's gotten really bad to the point that I'm not really doing the podcast like as early as I hoped. So it just means that I'm pretty much like not having a lot of time to do editing all those bits. So, and we haven't even been discussing about like doing outside the box for a few times. We were going to have an outside the box on things like Last of Us show and all those bits, but unfortunately, it's just like I'm struggling to get those prepared. So I think it's just for this reason that I'm trying my best to do like podcasts. I have a couple of videos signed up, but I think from this point on that I may end up only like contributing less to the channel because I have ideas of doing my own maladapted daydreaming YouTube channel. So it just means that when I'm doing work and I getting some like feedback on it, it's something I can do. And if I were to get on well with it, then yeah, I think I'm just dribbling on a bit. But I think the truth is, I I may not be that motivated enough to do more than just random videos and the podcast episodes. Like, I'm trying to do this every week, but don't expect me to pop in every time. But if we're going to expecting other things like outside the box episodes and everything like that, then I think it's just really is down to me if I feel motivated to do those things. So don't be too disappointed if you don't see a lot. But I've certainly been doing shorts and all those bits, so I think it's something, if it's like really small or something that can be done in 5 minutes, then it's possible, but I may not be able to attend for longer sessions, so I hope you understand.
So, yeah. So I was going to just, So basically just bear that in mind going forward. We're going to hopefully try and keep the channel up and running, keep it ticking over, just see how it goes. But we'll just, we're both human at the end of the day, and we see how it goes.
I can share some positive news though. We are continuing to steadily receive subscribers. We still receive hundreds of views on shorts, and we're also been receiving more views on segments of the podcast, which means we're actually reaching out to more people, and it's going for the steady growth, because it could have been like it may not have reached 50, but we're slowly catching up to the PS We Trust podcast as our competitor. But when it comes to other podcasts like Xbox 2 and others, well, we still have a lot of work to do, and we still hope to reach 1,000 subscribers. But I think realistically, we just still aiming to go for 100 subscribers in the next 3 months. But even so, it's just like we're still like bringing out content, our discussions, everything, just to like get people interested. And yeah, it's much appreciated. So
we do appreciate everyone who subscribed to us. We are still a small channel. We're trying to grow as quick as we can. We might have been doing this for 2 years, but it's got really quick. I've really enjoyed every episode we've done, really.
We did have a growth spurt back in January, and I think the developer for it could be considered as a big... Yeah, it's one of those breaks, really, where we got more...
Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush. High-five the Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
So, on that note, let's just have a little chat then. I was going to say what we were playing, but I wanted to mention the fact that you said to me that you started watching Ted Lasso.
Yes.
After my recommendation last week. What do you think?
Yeah, I just caught your recommendation. Got some Apple TV Plus, which I already got a trial for, so been watching it, and I've been binge watching it. So I've just got round to the last episode of the first season, and it's great. It's fun. It's good. I think it just kind of like has this kind of like more emotional aspects compared to like Only Fools and Horses, and how it deals with mental health and all those things.
Yeah. It does do. It is very good. It's very good with mental health and stuff like that. It does do some sensitive subjects very well in that show. It's very good. I'm really enjoying it. Season 3 is just started. I watched episode 1 last week. Episode 2 is out today, so I'm going to watch that later. I think when the series is over, maybe that would be a good outside the box video to do if anyone's interested in listening to us talk about Ted Lasso for a little bit when it's finished.
Yeah. I just hope I can catch all the episodes before the trial runs out. But yeah, I think this is a good idea. It's a bit random, but then I think the truth is that Ted Lasso is more the version of a theme where it's about the American coach who manages a football club in Britain, and I think deep down it subverts into a comedy that is like more has some heart and has some interesting characters. And I think it's just it's a kind of underrated gem. But then again, I think that Apple TV's already got lots of interesting shows, which I think is likely to compete with Netflix in terms of quality content. Would you agree?
Well now. Yeah, I think it's getting much better. It used to be, because when I first watched season 1 of Ted Lasso, that was literally the only good thing on Apple TV. And now they're starting to really bulk up their products and make a lot of decent stuff. But that at the time, it was literally, I watched Ted Lasso and I'm like, okay, now what? So I just cancelled my subscription. It's really good, Ted Lasso. It's like it feels like it's a good British sitcom, but it's made by Americans. It's like it does feel like a British sitcom. It's got all like the tropes of like a British sitcom. It's very interesting, well written. American in Britain, basically. That's kind of the whole concept, really, isn't it? It's just trying to understand British phrases and like what was it like the trunk of a car is called a boot, and getting fired is called a boot. So you could get the boot and put all your stuff in the boot when you're on a boot. It's just like stuff like that. It's just like very American humor with that. But yeah, I really enjoyed Ted Lasso. Yeah, so that's what we've been watching as well. I was also gonna ask you, do you watch reality TV shows at all?
No, not me.
No. I don't like stuff like Love Island and stuff. I don't see the appeal of that. It's like you're just watching thick people try and have sex with each other. It's like it's not really that entertaining, you know.
Sounds like it sounds like a more isolated natural selection going on.
Yeah, it's awful, Love Island. I hate those type of shows, but I do like the ones which are like actually have like a quite cleverly written or like have a clever like concept. So I like The Circle. It's like that's a game show where everyone has their own apartment, but they can't talk to each other. They can only talk to each other through the social network called The Circle. And you could be a catfish and pretend to be someone else and stuff like that, which I found that actually quite interesting. But the reason I bring this up is because I've just started watching a new show called The Rise and Fall, and it's made by the same people who made The Traitors. Have you seen The Traitors? Probably not.
Not me.
It's like Among Us. The TV show is like Among Us. You basically got 13 people in a house, and there's 3 people killing people in the night, but you've got to try and figure out who they are, and they're like undercover, they're the traitors. So they got to eliminate people each day. So it's like Among Us, basically. Really good show, The Traitors, and love it. This show I'm not as first on, called Rise and Fall. It's essentially Capitalism, the game show. You have 6 people who go up and live in the penthouse of this skyscraper, and then there's like 10 people who live in the basement. And then in the basement, you have to do all these really horrible tasks to earn money for the prize fund. And you can earn the right to get up to the penthouse. But the twist is the people in the penthouse are the only people who can get eliminated. So you go to the penthouse, but then you have a chance of getting knocked out of the competition. So it's like a lot of so the people in the penthouse have to basically, and then the people in the penthouse have to try and get the people in the basement to do horrible things for money. Basically, it's really weird, but it's an interesting concept. But as I said, it's Capitalism, the TV show, and that's what I've been watching. It's on every night on Channel 4 at 10 o'clock. It's been interesting to watch. Yeah, that's what I've been watching recently. But I would, if you're going to watch a show like that, I'd recommend Traitors. It's a much better show. On BBC, you watch all of them in one sitting. It's like Among Us, the TV show.
Yeah.
Very good. Very, very good reality. I don't like reality TV shows most of the time, but when they got a good hook, I'm totally into them. So this one's got an interesting hook, and I'm going to watch more of it. And I'll let you know next week if it gets any better.
Oh, and I forgot to mention that you can still get a trial for Apple TV Plus on Xbox Game Pass, so you can watch Ted Lasso and the like. But I think with the BBC ITV4, I think it's for free. I don't know BBC you need a TV license for it.
It's free in the UK, but if you have a VPN, you can. If you're an American listener, you can get a VPN and access it through that. Or Peacock has the American version of Traitors, which is very good. Recommend that. Recommend both of those. Very, very good shows. So I don't know. Usually a huge fan of reality shows. You have to have a good hook for me to be interested. So Love Island, not my thing at all. It's just attractive people with no personalities trying to have sex with each other. It's like, just watch YouPorn if you're that desperate to watch people having sex.
Or, like, I don't know, OnlyFans?
Oh yeah, OnlyFans, yeah. I don't get Love Island at all. It's such a dull show because everyone's got like no personality and there's like no. I like game shows with a bit of strategy in it and a bit of like an interesting twist. You know, those are the type of reality shows I like. Anyway, off topic. So yeah, Ted Lasso and Rise and Fall this week are the TV shows we're recommending you watch.
I've been watching Red Dwarf still, so I'm just like rewatching all the shows. But yeah, I just got the DVD, which I had for over a decade. There's a Blu-ray edition of Red Dwarf, and it's like about 35 quid in Amazon. But I thought probably not because these are just upscale versions. But I got just the show's DVDs, which doesn't have all the extras on it. But who knows? But yeah,
you said to me the Red Dwarf this week on Discord. Just sending me random clips of Red Dwarf, and it's funny. Crichton's still the best character. The robots, such a good character.
I think the Americans may not be familiar with it though. There was a US pilot, but it kind of bombed. Didn't go through.
Basically, if you don't know what Red Dwarf is, it's kind of like Star Trek, but it's like British, and it's like got a British humor to it, and it's a comedy. So it's like it's like very silly, but it's funny and it's really good. It's really well written. Like you got a cat who was a cat who's turned into a human, right? And
no, he is a fetus sapiens who actually evolved from a cat after millions of years.
Oh, evolved from a cat. Okay, all right. And then you've got Crichton the robot who can't lie, even though he tries to lie. He can't. So you showed me this clip about him trying to say what banana is, and he can't. He has to admit this banana every time. He can't say it something else.
What's this?
Banana, banana. Yeah, Red Dwarf is such a funny show. I haven't watched it in years. It's pretty old. It's not that old. Not 50 years old. Banana. It's a banana. So you're doing it. You're lying. Yeah. Like Red Dwarf, the original series was on the spaceship's Red Dwarf, wasn't it? And then they leave and go in the green. It's called like the green bug or something. I can't remember what it's called.
Starbug.
Starbug, that's it. It's been a while since I watched it. But really good show, really funny show. If you like Monty Python or like British sitcoms or anything like that, and you like space, yeah, totally Red Dwarf. Highly recommend it. So. That being said, let's get on to what we've been playing. Video games. Why we're here. Xbox.
What have we been playing?
Xbox.
So let's deal with the small bits first. So what's the other things you've been playing?
So also, I just wanted to mention, what was that transition that we just sat through? Oh my God. Oh, it was a transition. What was that? Saying what we've been playing, like special effects. See, we've had transitions to. Has
it became a woman yet, or some sort of? Nah, just an in cheek joke.
Yeah, I didn't mean it that way. Intros to each segment of the podcast. We have now got intro.
And last week, it's just a surprise. It was basically my idea to throw those cues in. And then I was told that most podcasts don't have any cues. But I thought,
true.
Screw it. I'll just throw those in, just treat it like a TV show.
Yeah, we're trying if you can't tell, we're trying new things out every week. So we got the new introductions, we got the pronouns added to our things, see what people like, people don't like. Well, we like to experiment with the channel, make it be unique. We don't want to be like every other podcast on the internet.
Yeah.
We want to have our own style. So
I happen to be the one who improvises and experiments. I think about a decade ago, I've been like experimenting with ingredients, much to my mum's disagreement. Like I put ketchup into lasagna, makes it much sweeter, actually. But when I threw some like chilies into it, Dad thinks it's a Mexican lasagna. But it's just been experimenting with flavors. But this time around, it's just like trying out new recipes, doing some I think it was smack burgers or some sort. Oh, smash burgers.
Ooh, smash burgers.
Because I shared the picture of one of them, and it's like it's so
nice.
Juicy and so good. It's much better than Heston Blumenthal's burger recipe. Because it only takes like a minced beef to make some like juicy burgers. And the one that I did last night is just like supreme.
I love it.
Also, I've been doing like pavlova, some bits, and I did a curry from scratch. So, yeah, it's just been doing it all right. So, cool.
Master Chef, yeah. I just stick everything in the air fryer. I just stick everything in the air fryer. Air fryer this food.
Yeah.
So what we got off topic again. We both been playing Halo Infinite. Woo!
We'll discuss that soon because this is going to be a long-winded segment. So,
okay.
Which is why we have to focus on the other games.
Okay, so we're not going to talk about Halo Infinite in a minute. You've played the Resident Evil. Well, we both played the Resident Evil 4 demo, but that is our topic of the show.
Yes,
so we'll come to that later as well. So we won't talk about that again. Okay, so Vampire Survivors. I finally got past a bit I've been stuck on in Vampire Survivors because the game kept crashing. I think I figured out why. Yeah, it kept crashing every time I got to level level 74, 75. I think I figured out why. Because I had the ability to get everything sucked into one area. I think it's called Mad Groove or something. And basically, and then you get all the new items, and then you have these monsters following you around everywhere. I think if you have too many items, it just breaks the game, basically.
Yeah, that's the problem, because I think it has a problem where it doesn't have a limit in. I think one time I got all the most powerful weapons in, and got all the stuff because I use Arcana card that lets you do death circles for each projectile, and then it just turned the game into a huge mess, and it just has no sound, just lots of random effects. And I don't know if I have a clip of it somewhere, but it's certainly when the game is broken. And it's just slowed so much down that I just somehow quit.
Yeah, that happened to me as well. My game literally just froze and it just quit. I was like, no. So it took me forever to get past to get to level 8. I needed to get level 80 inverted castle. I think it was. I needed to do that. So I finally did that last night. So I'm making progress. I think I'm gonna 100%. I think I'm gonna 100% Vampire Survivors. By maybe next week, possibly, but definitely by the end of the year.
I've got about next week.
I got about 9 more achievements to go. I think on the list of achievements on the game. So
the originals or the DLC as well.
DLC as well. So I've done a load of the originals. Yeah, so I've got quite a few. Not many to go now. So I'm going to look up guides of how to do some of them because some of them I can't figure out what to do.
I think I need to work on them actually because I think they added achievements since I've been gone, and I'm like, cool.
So I literally just started playing WWE 2K23. That game is so much fun. GM mode is we should do if you ever end up getting it, we should do GM mode also. That'd be a fun video series to do. Yes. You basically both you book your own shows and stuff. I had the best show ever. I don't even know how it's so much fun. That's all I've been playing is GM mode though, really. Just literally not even wrestling. I'm just I'll put this person with this person in this match at WrestleMania. Ooh. I'm just booking matches and I haven't even played any matches, really. I'm just booking stuff.
I don't own the game at the moment because I think it's about 60 quid for it. And I've been spending money elsewhere. So, but if I was to own that, I would definitely bring back Flyweight Championship and have all the Colonel Sanders lookalikes beating the crap out of each other. That's what I would do with the game.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've done. I need to get a recording device so I could do stuff like that. But it'd be funny. I might do that.
I recommend getting a USB capture device like the Elgato HD one because that's what I've been using to record Hi-Fi Arsenal bits like that. It's worth it. Quite pricey, but it's still worth it.
I'll have to have a look into that. I don't know how it works. I'll have to have a look. But
I think I may have a spare one of these, which only outputs about 1080p 30 frames per second. I don't know how I would go about sending it to you, but
yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Would you guys like to see some wrestling content? My wrestling channel is Potato Pro Wrestling. If you enjoy wrestling, go subscribe to that channel. We've got WrestleMania coming up, so there's going to be loads of new videos coming up in the next couple of weeks. Going to be very busy over WrestleMania week. So, yeah.
Well, should we do it outside the box for this one or talk about WrestleMania for 15 minutes or some sort? I don't mind joining in.
Yeah, we could do that. Try to do that at some point. That'd be fun. We could do that later, or we could do that next week, or whenever you fancy doing it.
If we got the time, because I think it just depends if we got time later today. But we're just probably. But I'm always interested for outside the box anyway. So I mean, it's only should be about 10 to 15 minutes. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely try and do that if I got a chance, for sure. So what else have we been so that's what I've been playing. You've been playing Time Splitters too?
Yes.
Question mark? One of my favorite games of all time.
Oh, glad to hear.
Game. Classic. It was like the first person shooter I fell in love with, really, and then it got me into Halo and all that. So
yeah,
I love the map creator in that was so good.
Oh yeah, basically I played Time Splitters 2, which I bought on Xbox like not long ago, and it's backwards compatible on like Xbox Series X and S. So I played like only for like the first mission of the story, where I played like the Siberia level and where you had to go through the zombies. It's not very intuitive, and you have to figure a lot of things yourself. And I was almost like missed out on destroying the communications dish, but I just managed to destroy that, made it to the rooftop without dying, and yeah, it's kind of worked out. Some of the missions in the game is just really tricky on normal, and it's a very challenging game. But I still like miss like playing Time Splitters 2. And mind you, it's actually like the follow-up to the GoldenEye.
Yeah, so yeah, GoldenEye was a fantastic game. That was like the first proper first-person shooter on consoles, wasn't it, really? And then we had that. Time Splitters used to be a lot of fun. I used to always be the monkey, which is like cheating, but there you go.
I don't know if it's
like this big.
I don't know if it's Time Splitters 2 or Feature Perfect that introduced the brick, but when I played online matches like over a decade ago, like I think it was in 2005 or some sort, that one was hell of a lot of fun and certainly got me off Halo 2 or some sort.
Yeah, I love Time Splitters. I haven't played it in years though, but it's such a fun game. For sure. I actually bought it the other day as well. It was on sale for like £4, so I bought it. So I think we might have literally both done the same sale there. So
I don't know what's going on with Deep Silver, but I think they really need to get around with like bringing Time Splitters back. There was a huge fan project. They're trying to revive Time Splitters, but I haven't heard a lot from them. But I think it's just basically a fan project that only like works if they got spare time for it. So it's a bit unfortunate. I think it's just been going through the Crisis engine or going through, I don't know if it's an Unreal Engine or some sort, but I think they just keep going through lots of iterations and still like going in like lots of loops. So it's a bit difficult. But I would definitely love to see the Time Splitters back. It's just unfortunate that the Deep Silver, they did a home front Revolution, and that one did not get so many good scores, but it certainly had like Time Splitters 2 Easter eggs, which somehow makes it more bit depressing, as you can say. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's more depressing than anything that we didn't get Time Splitters 2. I want Time Splitters 2, goddammit. A new Time Splitters. Oh well, one day, hopefully. The fan base is still there for it. People will still want it. It'll happen eventually, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So you wanted to update the Fantasy League? I haven't checked it in a while, so let me have a little. Let me see if I can open it myself. Ooh, the link's not working. Yay!
Yeah. So at the moment, you got 92 for Resident Evil 4 remake. So be prepared for more points.
Hell yeah, absolutely smart.
But the PS3 the PS3 Trust guys is already going through more releases, but just means they're just going to end up like having so many games released early, so it's just going to set the huge level of like for us to catch up. But I think you already got one game lined up. As for me, I still have 4 slots left compared to you having 2 slots left. But I haven't got any releases up. So according to this calendar, so it's going to be like about late April when I start to have more games being released. So that's definitely something.
I am so smart. SMRT. I mean SMART. I just reference Simpsons all time, every day, all the time. So the next game I'm looking... Well, it says what games are coming out, doesn't it? Let's have a look. Next game on my list, for me, is Minecraft Legends after Resident Evil 4. Your next game is Advanced Wars Reboot Camp.
Yes.
So that's pretty good. It's really interesting.
But there's going to be 3 more PS3 Trust games releasing, and that's going to whittle down to less than a half or some sort. I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. They're doing well, the PS Trust, but they're going to run out of games soon.
Well, they already ran out of games though because they don't have any more slots.
Yeah, no, maybe like the games they're going to all be released soon. Like they haven't really got much.
Oh, okay, I see.
Assassin's Creed Mirage, the new Call of Duty. That's about the only two and Spider-Man probably the only 3 games that are going to come out in the second half of the year. I would say out on their list.
Yes.
So, yeah, exciting stuff. I always enjoy the Fantasy League. If you guys enjoy the Fantasy League, let us know in the comments. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Now let's move on to Halo Infinite. And so, have you been playing it recently?
A little bit. We got a new 10-tier battle pass, I believe, which I haven't got around to playing yet. Or was it 20-tier battle? I can't remember. It's like Firewall, I think it's called.
Yeah, well, it's released this week. It's a Firewall, Fracture Firewall, which is a brand new event that is similar to Entrenched or the 10Y event. And this time it has a armor core that is like more retro, like 90s stuff, and is more like cyborgs. And according to the lore of this Chimera core, which receives a lot more customization options for the next, for another 4 weeks, I don't know, because it's going to be alternating between weeks. Oh. It just involves like, it basically takes a person and has been like regurgitated into a mix between man and machine. Ooh. There's also a short story that if you go through the bulletin for the game, like literally right in the game, and you should see the short story, and it basically involves someone like trying to like convert so many like AIs and just put them into like vessels of like flesh and machine. And the poster for it is like really epic, so good, and it has a lot of hints, and it suggests that as if the executioners are like going in the army. You'll also notice in the background that there's a guardian back, and it suggests a alternative future where Cortana has taken over Earth, and it just makes the whole thing really interesting. But the only thing that comes out is that it's a 20-tier pass, so you can only get 10 this week, and then you have to wait a few weeks before it comes out with more challenges. The playlist for it is Lone Wolves, and you get like I think it is like free-for-alls where you get like I think it's the Escalation Slayer, pretty good made. There's also like Slayer and a few bits. But it's a bit buggy in the moment because I think there are some modes that are like not so great, and it also puts you on some of the maps so like not so great as well, because I think Cliffhanger is a bit annoying. But the Escalation Slayers is a different version. It's like the gun game, where except you only upgrade your weapon with kills, and you can't get any upgrades if you do melee. So for it to count, you had to kill with a weapon. But if you do like back smack, then it degrades the person's level for it. So it's quite fun. But I only played like 1 or 2 of it because I keep like getting Slayer and all this random game modes. But there's a big, serious game-breaking bug because they've thrown in the Pit remake for the playlist. The trouble is that when you get into it, you die or you just join in during the game, and you'll be told there's no friendly respawns, which means you cannot respawn into the game.
Oh, right. Yeah, you showed me that yesterday. That's weird. They need to fix that. Hopefully they'll fix that straight away, I hope.
It's also a bit scary to do with the playlist, because if you go in the playlist and you join the game, you could wait it out, but you can either leave the game or you just wait for it until you get kicked out. And that's when it's going to be risky, because if you go into the pit and then you keep getting kicked out, you eventually be banned from like matchmaking because you crit too many times. So therefore, this playlist is quite a literal minefield, and this is really broken. But
I'm gonna have to play some Halo later today. I've got 73.
The good news is that the challenges still work with other playlists. So I've got a couple of challenges that requires killing with the shock and hard light stuff, but you can get it in playlists like Fiesta, for instance. So it's quite good.
Fiesta. I was gonna say I got like 73 double XP boosts, so I could use one of them at some point. Just stacking, got so many of them, it was ridiculous.
What's your level at the moment?
I'm not that high level. I think I'm like level 20. I think so.
98.
Oh wow, wow! You've been playing a lot more than I have. Then, jeez. Yes. On the new battle pass, obviously, because like the first 2 free battle passes I've maxed out, so I haven't maxed out the latest one yet. I'm taking my time. I'm pacing myself. I don't want to unlock everything straight away.
Yeah. Well, I just about to catch up with everything, and I'm hoping to attend to every event. But I would say that season 3 has got me back into gaming, and I think this is still really fantastic, and I've really have been enjoying it. However, the last week's playlist is about Big Team Battle Unlimited, and it has like Escalation Slayer, Capture the Flag, but there are 2 problems with it. One, I know that some of the game modes are great, but you're stuck playing this Oasis, which is like a sidewinder with 2 long sections, and you have 1 section where you had to go on foot. And I think, to be honest, I got really tired of it. In fact, it's even worse that they replaced a sidekick with the bandit rifle, which is quite cool, but you start to see the real flaws of it because it does not have a good range, it doesn't do a lot of damage, and it's still slow to fire. Slow rate of fire, so it just makes it like really bad, which is why the bandit rifle needs to be like upgraded. I mean, buffed or some sort.
Yeah, definitely. He's a good buff. I'm not super sold on the bandit rifle yet, to be honest. It's all right. Need to use it a bit more. See how I feel. So shall we move on to?
Well, I would also like to add that the bandit rifle is like, Bliss has recently made, I think it's some kind of bandit video, and he reckons the bandit rifle isn't necessary, and he would rather use a commando for it. I disagree because I really enjoy the bandit rifle, and I love to use it. I just feel that it needs to be improved in order to become a solid weapon. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of the commando because it's just like an automatic DMR. It kind of feels like a pea shooter. But anyway, there's some really good stuff, and I've been hesitating, but I've been buying more from the shop. Like this week, there's a bundle where it has a lot of things like chimeric goodies. Some of them are actually good. There's a helmet that shapes like the Master Chief's old helmet. And then it's just like, yes, it's a cool bundle, but I think people are saying like it looks ugly in some areas. I still bought it because I think the test pattern is just like really fantastic. So it's really great.
Fair. I need to look into that. I haven't looked at the shop this week, so I'll have to have a look into that. But yeah, new battle pass, new stuff to unlock. Recommend playing it if you guys want to go back and play some Halo. Even if you're playing it free to play, you're not buying the new battle pass. There's still a free battle pass to do this month. So
yes,
so we have to do that for sure. Should we move on to the next subject?
Yep.
The next topic.
Rumours at Xbox O'Clock.
So Microsoft are planning to make their own app store, which is, if the Activision deal goes through, which is really interesting. So for people who don't know, there's going to be legal legislation coming in next year, about March. The Apple and Android will have to open up their storefronts to other developers. So a third-party developer can put their apps onto iPhone and to Android phones, which is awesome. So for people like us who have iPhones, we'll be able to access Xbox games, and we'll be able to buy apps directly from Xbox instead of just buying them from Apple. We'll be able to circumnavigate them.
Well, I think it will be lucky if they were to use Apple, because Apple still doesn't allow any other app stores like Google Play Store, because that Google Play Store is still exclusive to Android. So I'm guessing it's probably likely to work mainly on Android.
No, so that's the thing. That's the thing. Is legally there's a law coming in, so Apple have to let other app stores on their phones. It's coming in March next year.
Ooh.
So it's still a year away, but it's still a year away. But you might see Google Play Store and Microsoft on an Apple phone, which is good because basically they're. Because what they've been saying about Xbox being a monopoly if they get Call of Duty, which is ridiculous, doesn't make sense. But what is actually a monopoly is Apple has a monopoly over their own app store, over their own phones. So they basically saying you have too much of a monopoly, too much control. So we have to let you have to let third parties develop stuff onto your phones. So Microsoft is one of the few companies in the world who can compete with Apple and Android when it comes to making their own app store. So this is partly why they get Activision, so they can get King, and so they can get Diablo Immortal, Call of Duty Mobile, Candy Crush, and stuff like that, and get them put onto it through an Xbox store, which would be really interesting.
Yeah,
it's going to be really intriguing, and it also is another positive reason for them to let the deal go through. Because if the deal doesn't go through, Apple and Android are going to stay dominant on their phones. They're going to stay as monopolies.
I think it's just really important that if Apple has to get Google Play Store and as well as like Xbox Store on it, then Apple must have to allow their apps to be used on Android, and that way you can get iPhone Sense on like Android phones. And I think this is one of the things that I love to see from Apple. It's allowing the Mac OS X to work on like non-Apple devices because Apple hardware is expensive, and there's some other laptops that offer the much better purpose, like ThinkPads, for instance, got the keyboards and ports. But the only thing you can do is doing the Hackintosh, and apparently it's pretty much frowned upon because it goes against regulations. But I think if Apple has to oblige to allow other stores to work on their iPhones and also do the same for the Androids, then it's a bit more hopeful for the Mac OS in the future, because I would love to have a Mac OS X to work on the ThinkPad, but at the moment I can't do it within the regulations. So, but I think this is quite promising in the future, don't you think?
I think it's going to be amazing. If this works the way it says, I would love to have Game Pass like natively on my iPhone. I would love that. Just be able to play on my Xbox, play Vampire Survivors on my phone properly through Xbox and get achievements.
There's also another problem that Xbox Game Pass, unless you're okay with streaming, you have to put Windows on it in order to get apps to work on the Steam Deck. Because Steam Deck, you can only stream using the Steam OS, and that's even if Valve wants to have Game Pass on the Steam Deck. But I think it's just Microsoft is a bit stingy. It wants people to get Game Pass on the Windows. But at the moment, the storefront and the back interface is not so great. Which is why then once they get through the Activision deal, I just hope they can get the Battle.net infrastructure to work for the Game Pass, and it will make this whole thing much better.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, as I said, it's another reason for like Activision deal to go through. If Microsoft get Activision, there's going to be Call of Duty on the video devices on Nintendo Switch, and then there's going to be a competitor to the iPhone store and the Android store with the Microsoft store. So I think it's a positive that I feel like they should do this. It makes all the sense in the world. So yeah, that's the big news coming out of Xbox this week. So much big news, but that's one of the biggest news. So Idea Xbox turns 10 years old. It has 3,000 games in development. That's a lot of games. That is a lot of games. Congratulations, Xbox, Idea and Xbox. Bring us lots of really good games like Cuphead and Ori and stuff like that. Some good stuff.
Well, they have already spent $4 billion to independent developers, which consists of over 5,000 developers across 100 countries doing 3,000 games. So, yeah, it's just all I think it's just somehow follows like Xbox Live Arcade, but now it's just like they're doing more games, and it includes Stardew, Among Us, and even like Gang Beasts. So I think this is really positive. Did you think?
Oh yeah, I love it. I love it. $4 million. I, yeah, 3,000 games. I mean, are these all coming to Game Pass? I mean, I'm assuming so.
Yes.
I mean, most of them would be. I mean, I love that. Like, if you have a Game Pass subscriber, people like go, "Oh, it's not enough AAA games on there." It's like so many good indie games. Like indie games are like some of the best stuff that comes out on Xbox. As they were saying, discussing last week, Undertale is one of my favorite games of all time. That's an indie game. Shovel Knight, Cuphead, Ori. Ori's not really. Well, it is an indie. It's kind of a kind of an indie game. But it's just like we like smaller games like that at ID and Xbox. I love that. I love a little bit of variety. Like the AAA space can be quite boring and bland. Third-person action adventure games with someone talking incessantly kind of get boring to me. This is why I haven't played my PS5 in like 6 months.
I think it's also worth mentioning that
games.
The AAA games, it's just like it lacks inspiration, tries too much, and it gets overcomplicated with a lot of high expectations. And you keep seeing ones with lots of bugs and bad business practices. Like about over 10 years ago, it was just like, oh, I've got like they're trying to like sell the game and make sure they get enough from selling hard copies, which is they not keen on the secondhand stuff. But now it's just like it's already the balance is tipped, and they get paid more with microtransactions and everything. And I think it's just the problem with them, the AAA in particular. They're just acting like a corporate mindset who focuses on business and making games fun. And it's really depressing, which is why it's always important to shout out to the indie games, and it includes like Vampire Survivors. Did you think?
Oh yeah, how did I forget Vampire Survivors? That's like the most obvious option. That's like Vampire. This podcast might as well be called X Marks the Box, a Vampire Survivor podcast, because we talk about it every bloody week. We love that game. It's so good, such a great game. But yes, I totally agree with everything you just said. Like the amount of there's like millions upon millions and millions and millions of pounds put into AAA games, and then it's like, well, they got to be quite boring because they can't do anything risky and risk losing customers, so they got to be as like paint by numbers, like bland as possible. AAA games, whereas in indie games you have to be unique to stand out. It's like the complete opposite. Like the weirder you are, the more likely you are to get traction as an indie game, which is great. I love indie games. Like, if you said to me, you either stop playing indie games or stop playing AAA games, I think I would stop playing AAA games. I think there's more indie games out there that I would enjoy to play than AAA, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I'm excited for Starfield. Yes, I'm excited for Redfall. Yes, I'm excited for Spider-Man 2, but I'm also just as excited for some indie games coming out. You know, I'm hoping that we can get some good stuff coming out this year. And the good thing about indie games is they just happen. Like they'll just drop. One day you'll be like, "Ooh, have you heard of this game called Vampire Survivors?" No, I haven't. I'll download it, and then you play it. It's like the best game ever. Like that's what indie games are like. You don't have the 9-month hype cycle which you do with AAA. Usually a game is announced and then releases within like a week, usually, when it comes to indie games. And that's what I kind of prefer that, personally.
I would say I'm looking forward to Pizza Tower on Xbox. But the question is it going to come out on the Xbox or on a Switch? I don't know.
I don't know, buy it either way, innit? Support the indie developers. Like 70 quid I think is too expensive for games.
I agree.
So I'm quite happy to spend 10, 20 quid on an indie game, or like several indie games. It's very rare that I'll buy a game for 70 quid. It has to be something exceptional now for me to do that.
Anyway,
to be honest.
We must make haste. So, next news. Halo Infinite Infection was teased for doing Season 3. Could actually be in Season 4. And so far, it looks good. It's already got the game mode in once you go through the custom files. And yeah, you can play it, but I think it's going to be a bit longer before it comes into the whole game. But
spooky season.
Yeah, well,
October,
season 4
spooky...
is coming from like the end of June and goes all the way to September, I imagine. But yeah, I think it's likely they would have like other things. Also, according to game files, there could be another armor core, which is known as Has. So I don't know how it's going to look like, but there's going to be another armor core. But it's speculated that it could receive more UI attachments and items for the UI core. So I think this is actually quite exciting if it's true, because we really got enough armor cores and coatings are not cross compatible with each other. So it would be nice to give more items to other armor cores that has already been going on for 1 or 2 seasons. So I don't know.
For sure, I totally agree. So I'm looking at, we still got a couple more news stories. Nothing really that groundbreaking. Should we just jump to
I would also need to mention that the matchmaking is likely to have better modes, and we could expect to see more in like season 4, and that includes VIP, but we just have to figure out because we already got like the good ones being Joint Ops and Escalation Slayer. You can still play Last Spartan Standing, which you can find it in the custom games browser. You can play it, which is quite good. But yeah, I think it's just a matter of knowing what's coming in. But I think we would love to see Infection and Griffball coming back. So yeah.
Oh, Griffball for sure. I love Griffball. Griffball's one of my favorites. If you haven't played Griffball, it's like a football or American football or rugby.
Do you think it will be renamed to something else because of a Rooster Teeth's controversy?
Probably not, because more people know Griffball as the mode than the actual Rooster Teeth stuff. I think a lot of people don't even realize it's a Rooster Teeth thing, really.
True.
I don't know.
True.
So should we do the news super? We got a choice: either do it super quickly, or we just skip over it for this week and come back to it next week, because there's a lot of little news stories.
Let's go through them.
All right, we'll do it quick. So Gears of War, the movie is in the works. It's coming to Netflix. We knew about that. Marvel writer is involved in it. So interesting. I don't know who's going to be involved in this film. Is Batista going to be in it? That's the main question.
That would be quite nice. Did Batista appear in Gears of War before or some sort?
He appeared in Gears of War 5 as you could have him as playable character in multiplayer, and you can also reskin Marcus as Batista in the story mode as well, which is kind of fun. So that's a nice fun little Easter egg. Yes, do that. Ni no Kuni 2 out now, apparently, is it? And it's coming to Game Pass with price.
It's out now already, and it's got all the DLC because of a Princess Edition. So there's Ni no Kuni on Game Pass still, I think. I don't know if it's going to leave Game Pass, but you can definitely play the sequel if you decide to play after so many hours into the original. So if you like
Japanese anime that looks like Studio Ghibli, check it out. Like Pokemon, get it, try it. Exoprimal.
It's like one of those Japanese animes.
It's just like one of my Japanese animes. Exoprimal, coming to Game Pass. It's getting good reviews, apparently. I didn't
by
see this.
Xbox players. So people who play this on the Xbox are already favouring it. So I think
sounds good.
I think that's a bit promising. But mind you, it's a Skype service. You still need Capcom ID. But who knows? It could be in the next Beast Hunter, for all I know. Warframe, dinosaurs. If you like this kind of stuff, then
Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
Bring back Dino Crisis, damn it. Next quick news. Shin Megami Tensei game coming to Xbox. If you like Persona, it's the original. Basically, Persona is a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei, but Persona is more popular than Shin Megami Tensei now. But it's a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei. Shin Megami Tensei is like a more serious version of Persona, basically.
I think it's only a rumor anyway, but I think it's been leaked and whether it's coming out. So it could only cover like 2 versions of 4 and 5 coming over to Xbox, which would be cool if it's proven true.
Okay, so now we got Xbox controllers. I don't know. I think I saw this at a weird pattern. It looks something like kind of from like Elden Ring, right? It's like a golden like.
Oh, is it?
Crinkle lines in it. I don't know.
It's just something to do with the coating on it, and it's being ruptured. But one of the people believe it's something to do with the hand sanitizer or how you just coated your hands and just affects the coating on it. But yeah, if you have an Elite controller, be careful. Otherwise, you get a fungus infection on it.
Yeah, sounds disgusting. Amazon is selling Xbox controllers at a reduced price. Xbox black or white controllers £40, red, blue, yellow, £50, green still full price because green is the best. So you got to pay full price.
Let me clarify. You're talking about the green controller, but what you got here is yellow controller. So if you wanted the control, so what I was pointing out that the green one is an actual green. That's like lime green, and it's released recently, but you can only get it for the full price. But if you want to get a controller like what Lewis got, the yellow that looks like green to him, then you can get it for 50 quid. Otherwise, if you want the most reliable controller, which is in black or white, it's available for 40 quid, so it's a bit of a steal. I
like this next story. It's our last story of the day. Microsoft tells CMA that Sony can create a Call of Duty of their own within the next 10 years. I've been saying this since day one. This is what I keep saying. Jim Ryan, wake up, Jim Ryan. Look, make SOCOM, make Killzone, make Resistance. You've got the IP, you've got the personality, you've got Bungie, for Christ's sake. Grow a backbone, Jim Ryan. I said this last week. You cut it out into a little clip. Clip this out. Jim Ryan, make SOCOM, make Resistance, make Killzone, or get Bungie to make a shooter. Stop crying about Call of Duty and bloody grow a backbone, you child. There we go.
Yeah, so...
Mic drop. add a microphone in like post. Oh...
I hope you closed it properly, because otherwise it'll fizz out over your pants.
No, I did close it, yeah. That would have been funny, but yeah.
Yes.
That is the news. We got through that quickly in the end, because that is the news.
And now for the topic of the show.
It's time for the topic of the show.
Last week, we used a new cue, but it was too short. So, we improved it. So, we're now officially releasing to you an epic cue for it. Hit it!
Wow. That was amazing. Who was that sexy person's voice? Wow. Who was that? Very, very cool. I thought it would be good. I like the more of an epic style for the topic of the show.
Mind you,
more epic.
We did have a cue ready for the breaking news, but because we don't have any this week, we just don't have a cue there. But
breaking news.
No. I think we could release it as a short. What would you think?
Yeah, we could do. Yeah, that'd be funny. Breaking news.
I'll probably throw this one out just to keep the people quiet.
So yeah, our topic of the show is Resident Evil 4 chainsaw demo.
Oh, and I forgot to put the topic. Bing! Resident Evil demo.
Woo! The PS3 Trust guys love Resident Evil. I enjoy Resident Evil, but I'm a bit of a coward. I'm a worse. I'm not good with horror games, so not gonna lie.
We were originally going to have a guest in and talk about it, but because of a change of plans, I don't know. We didn't want to say too much about it, but I think it's just like.
Hopefully, when the game comes out, we will have a proper review discussion.
I agree.
Is not going to. Me or Alice, neither of us are planning on buying it day one, so we'll probably have to get someone in to talk about the game, review it for us.
I think that Davey is an expert on like horror games, so he might.
Davey has SSJ Davey from PS3 Trust has his own YouTube channel where he talks about horror games extensively, mainly Resident Evil. He talked about Dead Space and Evil Within, all sorts of stuff. so he should be. Yeah, we're hoping to get him on next week or the week after to talk about Resident Evil 4. But we've both played the demo. I pre-ordered the game, played the demo, thought the demo was great, cancel my pre-order. Because I am a coward. I'm scared. I don't like it. I get scared too easily. Resident Evil 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. My favorite horror game of all time, which isn't a high bar because I don't like horror games, but it's my favorite horror game of all time. I beat it once, and every time I play it since, I'll get through the beginning bit, get past the village, and then go, where is everybody going? Bingo. And then I'm like, oh, that was fun. Then I turn the game off, and then I never go back to it again. And then the next time I play it, I'll restart the game and do the intro again. So I redo the intro every time. It's just like, it's a bit overwhelming, the intro, isn't it? And it's just like one of the things I'm like, ooh, that was fun. I need a break now for like 3 weeks before I play this again. I can't play anymore. It's like it's going to give me a heart attack. But yeah, same thing happened with the demo. I played it so the chainsaw guy came in. I threw 2 grenades at him. I emptied my shotgun on him. I had fired 4 shotgun shells on his head, and he still got up. I'm like, what the hell, man? Really, really frustrating. So, yeah, scary. And the chainsaw just cut you up. It's like, ew, I don't like it.
Well, for me, the reason I didn't buy it because it's quite a high asking price, and I don't really keep paying for games of high prices when I know they're not likely to play it for a long time. But
I agree.
The one time I actually played the game was on the Nintendo Wii. It came out of the GameCube and it had tank controls, but I haven't really tried that version. But when it came out on the Wii, you can do it with a Wii remote. I just got in, completed it, and it's actually really good because I used to play the original Resident Evil, but I just got fed up with it, and it was like really scary. It's got the scariest moments of any series, but I think it's just like what really turned me off is the typewriter and the limited saves. Like you have to be more sparing for the saves, but it's just really frustrating when you spend hours and then you get killed by the Crimson Walker, and it's like, oh, you just lost all that progress. And I think it's just like, it's just really frustrating. Which is why when I get into Resident Evil 4, you go to the typewriter and you have unlimited saves, and it's like, this is so possible for me to complete the game.
I love it, I liked Resident Evil 4 back in the day. I loved Resident Evil 4 back in the day. I just haven't got around to replaying it. I got it on the Switch. I got it on the Xbox. I've only beaten it the once, and I beat it on the GameCube. And it's like, I liked it, but I don't know. It's just too. I tense up too much playing it. I don't know. It's just, it's like, I need a break. Like, I'll play it for an hour. Like, I need a break now. That was too much. I was too tense. I'm tensed up too much here.
I would like to add my thoughts on it because I played the Chainsaw demo on Xbox as well. So, when I tried it on the Xbox Series X, first thing, it looks really beautiful. It's powered by the RE engine, and I think it is really fantastic. They got the good details, it's got the good settings, and I'm very, very impressed with like how it turned out. But I think it's just more like a really huge remaster in a way, where there's a Resident Evil 4 remake which you can get right now for the lower price. But when you get the Resident Evil 4, which is known in Japan as Biohazard 4, colons as RE, it just means like you have better graphics, but more importantly, you have like more modern controls, which instead of tank controls, you now like control with 2 sticks. And I think this is a good way to attract newcomers into this whole game. So far, it's just like really good. The user interface is fantastic. And it's just like really good. But I mean, it's a bit tricky because you had to go into more intensity moments. And when you get in the town, like, it's just like I didn't realize that you have to survive as much as you can before the bell rings. And it's just this part. It's just like really annoying because you have to like shove through all the crazies and get all the chainsaw guy. And it's just like, it's just pretty annoying.
Yeah. What annoys me about the remake is they killed the dog off as well. Because in the original Resident Evil 4, there's a dog in like a bear trap right at the beginning of the game. And if you free him, I mean, spoilers for the original Resident Evil 4, if you free the dog, he comes back to save you later on in the game.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was a really cool little thing, little Easter egg thing. And he's like a cute little dog. And then in this one, it's just a dead dog while you walk in. It's like, oh, you've killed the dog off. Why would you do that? Why, Capcom?
I don't mind.
It's so mean. I love dogs. I 0 out of 10. You killed the dog. 0 out of 10. Boo!
Sounds like you need Does a Dog Die website to tell if any of these places have got a dog dead. But to be honest, I like
God of War Ragnarok. A dog dies. 0 out of 10. No, it's dead. That's my rule. If a dog dies in the game, it gives a 0 out of 10 straight away. So Resident Evil 4 Remake gets our official rating of 0 out of 10. Boom. Sorry, now you can talk. Sorry, I just need to get off my chest.
Well, I think the thing is, I like cats. I prefer cats to dogs, and I get nervous around dogs still, but I don't mind dogs on photos and everything, so I don't care. But what really bothers me is just like they like to kill off cats in horror films. Like it's not like they're 0 out of 10 for me, but it just bothers me or annoys me. It's just like
I don't like cat.
It's just like a bit of a dick move where they have to kill the cat in the film just to do it for the effect.
I don't like that either.
It's just
I don't like that either. That's horrible too. I don't like that either. If they killed the cat off, I'd be just as bad. Well, maybe not as mad because I prefer dogs, but I would be still upset if they killed the cat off, for sure. Yeah. So my official rating for Resident Evil 4 Remake is 0 out of 10 because they killed the dog off. So
I get it. It's a 0 out of 10 because they left the dog to die.
Yes. That's it. That's going to be a short. That's going up on the channel as an official review.
But what if the full game allows you to rescue the dog? Because the demo's already changed it, so it doesn't allow you to save the game on the typewriter, and you only go as far as like the village. So who knows? It might come up with it. But I think to me, it's just really pretty. The controls are great, and it's not like a one-to-one remake. It's just more like remaster, and the story is still there. But I think anyone who hasn't played Resident Evil 4 but are interested to do it are pretty much treated at this like really impressive game. So I would say, yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah. Also, play the demo. That's pretty much what we should just be saying to people. Play the demo. The demo's free. Just play it. See what you think. I was going to say the demo, because the intro of Resident Evil 4 I played so many times. They do feel like they drag the intro out a bit in the demo. Like you have to sneak into this house and then you find the guy eventually, and then you knock the guy out and then the guy comes back and all that. And that doesn't happen in the original one. You just basically you confront him and then run away, basically. But there you go. It's one of the things. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the demo for what it was. And then I realized that I'm probably going to get too scared to actually complete it. So I didn't want to pay 60 quid for a game I'm going to play like twice.
I was really tempted to play Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes. And you can get them both for like 12 quid. But I thought
I've got them.
I'd just probably not like get them or not. But I don't know. But I think I heard these games are really good remasters. So
they're fantastic games.
Yeah.
If you're not a coward like me, I recommend those games because they're great games, but I'm a coward. But there's a point. I wanted to put a poll up, so I'll probably put this on the YouTube channel and on Twitter. Should I face my fears? Should I face my fears and play Resident Evil 4 Remake? Should I play Resident Evil 4 Remake? Should I face my fears? Let me know in the what's it called, the community tab, or on Twitter on Xbox, because I'll be putting out on both of those.
Now,
so should I face my fear?
Let's go now. Another part of this topic before we move on to the last segment. There's an anime of Resident Evil 4.
Know it.
It's a short, so I don't know if you watched it, but I've seen it. So should we do a reaction to it on this podcast? What do you think?
I think you showed me it earlier, didn't you? Like, it's one of my Japanese anime.
But should we react to the episode? Because there's like 2 episodes of this whole thing. What would you think?
How long is it?
About a minute each.
It's just like one of my Japanese animes.
It's a short little bit. Yeah.
Oh no! Chainsaw Man. Looking for Ashley. It's the...
あの人に聞いてみよう。こんにちは。アシュリーを知りませんか？すみません。ありえんな。どうですか？うれしい。
この番組はバイオハザード RE4 の提供でお送りしました。
What?
バイオハザード RE4
Oh, Japan, I love you.
3月24日発売。
So random. You are dead. He's like, ah. Also, I was going to mention with Resident Evil 4 as well. 60 quid. You're saying that about 60 quid, right? I'm also like next week we're going to be getting, or in April we're getting Ghostwire Tokyo, and we're getting Redfall quite soon as well. So they're quite. If I want my like my creepy horror type games, I'm gonna have my fix pretty soon. You know what I mean? Oh, it's loaded. It's frozen. Loading. Now it's started. This is the same one. It looks the same.
いいかい？よくお聞き。
So
絶対
creepy.
に僕から離れちゃいけないよ。
約束する
Oh,
わ。
Resident Evil, you're so crazy.
アシュリー！
ありがとう。
アシュリー！
Aww.
アシュリー！アシュリー！僕も疲れたよ。
この番組はバイオハザード RE4 の提供でお送りしました。
バイオハザード RE4 3月24日発売。
What? Ashley! I love Japan. They're so fucking random. I love it. Ashley! Ashley! That's if you have ever played Resident Evil 4, that's literally what it's like. Ashley just keeps getting kidnapped all the time. It's like, stop getting kidnapped, Ashley, for God's sake.
Yeah, I just hope there's more episodes towards the release date. But yeah, it's so random. But there's also a good opportunity for you to say, it's just one of those Japanese animes.
It's just like one of my Japanese animes. Wow! I get more weird every time I say it. Every time it gets more eccentric. So that is our topic of the show, Resident Evil 4. We are excited for it, and neither of us are buying it, so it makes no sense that we're excited. But, yeah. Something along those lines. It looks good. We both enjoyed the demo. Neither of us are buying it for 60 quid, but we will have someone on to discuss it, hopefully, when it comes out.
Now, for the last question. Ready? I have a question for you, Chief.
Yeah.
Right, so typically it's got to be usually the last topic. Well, it's always based on the last topic. And when we had a guest in, I was going to ask him to ask you a question, but we don't have it in. So the last question that I'm going to give to you is going to be very interesting. Now, you're not a fan of horror games, and we discussed it in the Spooky podcast. But the question I'm going to give it to you is, what is your favorite Xbox exclusive horror game? You can't have Resident Evil because that's multi-platform, and you can't even have Halo because that's a spooky game. so it has to be the Xbox exclusive horror game.
So that's quite a limited number of games. I guess that would be what Dead Rising 1. That went an Xbox event to PlayStation eventually, didn't it?
It's a time exclusive.
Trying to think of horror games now. I mean, there's not even a horror game, Dead Rising, but whatever. Dead Rising 3 was also exclusive for a while. Dead Rising 4 was exclusive for a while. Evil Within is now a first party, so you get Evil Within 1 and 2. We're gonna get Redfall soon. Prey, that's first person. That's kind of scary. Prey's kind of scary. If you've played Prey, that's a good game.
Yeah. Well, there's an exclusive game called Condemned.
BioShock was.
Oh yeah, I was going to say Condemned Criminal Origins that came out on the Xbox 360.
Oh, Condemned! Oh, that game is scary. Right, have you ever played Condemned? That game freaked me out back in the day. I did not like it. You have like mannequins that like follow you and stuff. Oh no, thank you. That game's scary. Seeing Xbox exclusive horror games is not a very long list. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, there's
the best horror games ever. Resident Evil 4's up there.
Well, it's not on the Xbox exclusive though, isn't it? It came out the GameCube and then it came over to PlayStation 2. But
yeah, it did. Yeah.
The other exclusive horror is Alan Wake and The Medium.
Oh, Alan Wake's good.
And there's also a State of Decay as well as Rise of Nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
But there's also Stubbs the Zombie and Rebel Without the Pulse, which is done using the Halo 2 engine.
There's quite a few good ones there that you listed there.
There's also Call of Duty, Dark Corners of Earth, and there's also like Breakdown. But yeah, I think it's just like I've been going through the article with all those games there, and there's definitely a few exclusive games there, and that includes Vampire Way.
I don't play many of them. Ooh.
And there's also Metro.
I know. Vampire Survivors. Vampire Survivors is my favorite Xbox horror game.
Would that be considered a spooky game?
No, probably not. No, probably not. Grounded. That game is terrifying. Bloody giant spiders and Grounded scare the crap out of me.
Still spooky.
Oh my god. Spooky. Spooky. If we're going, yes, Alan Wake, I guess, would be the best answer for that. I guess if we're going to go exclusive to Xbox, even though it has been remade and released on PlayStation now. But yeah, I'd say if you're going to go purely on that, either Alan Wake or Evil Within 1 or 2 is probably your best bets. Ghostwire Tokyo should be fun. Redfall, I think Polly will take this list, but that's not coming out for a couple of months. So
what about Condemned?
Yeah. So my answer is Alan Wake with Evil Within 1/2 as the second place on the list.
Yes.
And Prey, even though is that a spooky game or a horror game? Because it's kind of a horror game, but it is spooky.
Prey
it's good. It's good. Prey.
Things. It's either the 3D Bounce one or the one that's by the different developer, but I think that's what you referred to.
The one by Arcane.
Yeah.
Where you're in a spaceship and there's like a black ooze thing that's chasing you around and trying to kill you. It's pretty scary, not gonna lie. And I enjoy it. It's a good game. And it's quite scary. But yes. If we go specifically Xbox exclusives, we go Alan Wake and Evil Within are the answers to your question.
Yeah. Anyway, to wrap up this podcast, we have breaking news.
Breaking news!
According to Eurogamer, this popped up during the podcast and is confirmed that Counter-Strike 2, as rumoured, is official, which means it's coming out on summer 2023.
Counter-Strike 2? Oh, okay. There you go, Sony. There's your Call of Duty killer, or your Call of Duty. There you go.
But that's by Valve. It's coming over to PC. So what's happened is, Counter-Strike 2 is a free upgrade to the Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and I think it came over to Xbox Ones, but it would be made on Valve's Source 2 engine, which the company said that it will mark the largest technical leap forward in Counter-Strike's history. There. But anyway, it's in limited testing today.
So it's going to be like
yeah.
So it's going to be like Overwatch 2 then, basically, where it's the same
like
game, just okay, fair enough, interesting. Well, Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's a good game. I said so there you go, PlayStation, buy Counter-Strike, and then you're good.
No, that's by Valve.
No, but I'm saying if they could get it on PlayStation, that'll fill the gap left by Call of Duty. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about how they can't live without Call of Duty. It's like, there you go. There's a perfect alternative right there called Counter-Strike 2.
Well,
there you go.
I think the thing is, Valve really wants to work with Microsoft and tries to get Game Pass over to Steam Deck. So I think that it's more likely that Counter-Strike 2 might be coming over to Xbox and PC for Game Pass than with PlayStation. But if you're talking about Sony and getting the Call of Duty killer, there's Killzone and SOCOM. So
they have the options. Just saying, if they're that desperate, they could try and pay for Counter-Strike or whatever.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If they're that desperate for a Call of Duty killer, there you go.
On that bombshell, we have to wrap up. So, we have a pretty good podcast, and things are falling down. So now we're just going to say our goodbyes and thank you for listening.
Au revoir. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to the X Marks the Box podcast. Follow us at xmarksbox on Twitter or X Marks the Box on YouTube. And follow us on all audio podcast services. Thanks for listening.